But I get the feeling that many people in America, Gentiles as well as Jews, feel we should stop talking about the Holocaust. We had the Holocaust, now we have Israel. Jews are doing very well. Why? What's the big deal? And many of us, Jews, read about anti-Semitic attacks, but they seem distant, isolated. They're in other cities. This is a big country, and those are a few crazy people, and we don't have to think about it because the world is not a place that's going to threaten us. As one commentator said in this famous book that Susan actually sent me, Jews Don't Count, he said, yes, many people hate us, but why make a fuss about it? In this book, he talks about how we are not regarded as a stigmatized minority, like indigenous people, like Black Americans, and even Latino Americans. So what is my role? Why am I here? Why did Sharon ask me to come? It's like, okay, I'm an ethicist. Well, what does an ethicist do? Someone teaches ethics. But an ethicist, to me, and also Susan, who's participating, also teaches ethics in New York City. To me, an ethicist is someone who makes a fuss about the meaning of virtue and the power of virtue. We call people back to our role as committed to virtue in our lives. So your stories, to me, are virtuous. They do the ethical duty because they have the power to bring us back to the place of understanding, to correct the drift of apathy and fatigue and insensitivity to suffering, ours and other people. Ethics was defined first by Aristotle. Aristotle wrote the first book on ethics, and most people would agree that it's still the best book on ethics, and it was written 2,300 years ago. And the first sentence, he says, we're defined by the choices we make. That we have the power to live in virtue, but it's not innate. We're born with the capability, but it has to be processed and trained through our choices, through habituation. So in a sense, to me, it's like we humans come factory equipped with qualities of compassion and honesty, generosity, and courage, among others, but as well we come equipped with the capacity to actualize that in the world. But the opposite is true. We also come factory equipped with the qualities of anger and resentment, bitterness and rage. Wanda said that a loaf of bread could change a life. But remember how that came about. Because she looked Gentile, and she and her mother looked Gentile, the Nazi officer gave them 2 loaves, and one of the Gentiles was resentful and said, well, there's not going to be a loaf for me. So her mother gave the woman a loaf, one of the loaves that she needed to feed her own daughter, and that woman ended up saving them. So that's how it can turn. The job of an ethicist, what we teach, is to try to actualize that power. This week in Torah, the Parsha is about Pharaoh, the hardening of his heart, and then the softening of his heart. And then he hardened it again and went after the Jews, and he softened it again. And that's what the 10 plagues are about. And it's this process of wrestling with our nature the nature to be soft-hearted, compassionate, understanding, forgiving, empathetic, and then the power, the nature to do wrong and to harden our hearts. And Wanda spoke to that.